Hello guys, how are you all? I hope you are good. I welcome you all on my channel Language Therapy, on which I upload videos regarding English grammar. Well, in today's video we are going to discuss very important term, which is auxiliary verbs. What do we mean by auxiliary verbs? And I am going to explain the use of only one auxiliary verb in this video, which is use of is. I will try to explain its use in affirmative sentences, in present simple sentences, in passive voice form, and in present progression tense, in active and passive voice. Okay, so without any further delay, let's start our video, guys. Well, talking about auxiliary verbs, first I would like to clear your concept. What do we mean by an auxiliary verb? An auxiliary verb is a verb that develops a relationship between the subject and the main verb in the sentence. Okay, the main verb means the verb that is performing an action in a sentence. Okay, so auxiliary verb is here to develop a relationship between the subject and the main verb. That is the work, that's the purpose of auxiliary verb. Some auxiliary verbs are listed here, like is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had, do, does, and did. Well, I have given some examples for your concept that how we do use auxiliary verbs in sentences. Like, first example is Harry was driving the car recklessly. Now in this sentence I have used the auxiliary verb was to develop a kind of relationship between Harry, which is the subject, and driving, which is actually the main verb in the sentence. Okay, and in the second example we can see Jacob is wasting his time these days. Now in this sentence again I have used is, which is an auxiliary verb to develop a relationship between a Jacob and wasting, and wasting is our main verb in this sentence and Jacob is our subject here. Well, moving towards the third example, I would say Mike has repaired his computer. Now in this sentence we can see has is being used as an auxiliary verb in order to develop a relationship between the Mike, which is the subject, and the main verb of this sentence, which is repaired. Okay, so I hope you got an idea that how we do use auxiliary verbs in our sentences. Let's move forward. Now I would like to talk about specifically on is, that how do we use is in our sentences. Well, we use is in present sentences with these pronouns like he, she, it, that, there, or with any singular noun. We use is in always in present sentences. Okay, and now consider the following affirmative sentences in which I have used is, like Jonathan is an American citizen. And the second example is Nancy is a chef in this restaurant. And the third example is Bob is a mathematics teacher in this school. Now these are all the affirmative sentences and they are in present because I have used is in these sentences and they are all used with singular nouns. Okay, so let's move forward. While we do use is in present continuous tense, in active voice, okay, and this tense, the present continuous tense, while talking specifically about it, I would say that this tense is used to portray an action that is in progression or to action that is in motion. Okay, so the structure of this sentence is subject plus auxiliary verb plus we add a verb with ing suffix. Okay, and at the last we add an object here. So there is important note I have written here that the main verb which is used in this tense, which is actually ing verb, like the verb with ing at the end, is called present participle. Okay, and the structure of present participle is first form of verb plus ing. Now example I have given here, like I have taken the verb eat and I have added ing suffix in it and it has become eating, and now when I will use eating as a main verb in present continuous tense, now it would be called present participle. Okay, so in this sentence present participle is being used as a main verb. So I hope you got the concept of present continuous tenses. Now I would show you that how we use is in this sentence. Now consider the following examples that which I have used using is as an auxiliary verb here, like he is preparing for exam. Now in this sentence we can see he is our subject, is an auxiliary verb, and preparing, which is prepare plus ing, so it is present participle, which is the main verb in this sentence, and for exam is our, you can say, an object. So in this particular sentence I have used is, which is an auxiliary verb, to develop a relationship between a pronoun he, which is the subject, and the present participle preparing. Okay, now moving towards the second example, I would say she is competing with her cousin for good grades. In this example again I have used is to develop a relationship between she and competing, between the subject and the main verb, which is present participle. Well, moving towards the third example, I would say Jack is writing a novel for the publisher. Again I have used is as an auxiliary verb to develop a relationship between the subject and the present participle, which is writing, which is actually the main verb in this sentence. Okay, so I hope the concept of is in present, the use of is in present continuous tenses and active voices has become clear to you. Let's move forward. Well, we do use is in passive voice tenses as well. Now what do we mean by a passive voice? A verb is said to be in passive voice when an action or a work seems to be caused by the verb itself and not by the subject. We use is in present indefinite and in present continuous tenses. Both in present indefinite tense we use it in only in passive form, and in present continuous tenses we use in active voice, and both in as well as in passive voice also. So I would like to discuss present indefinite in passive form first. While talking about this tense present indefinite, we use it to represent our habit, our daily routine, or the action or the thing that we do on daily purpose. Okay, so the use of is here, like structure of present indefinite tense in passive voice is subject plus auxiliary verb plus third form of verb plus object. So this is the structure of present indefinite tense in passive voice. And the main verb, which is the third form of verb which is used in this tense, is called past participle. Okay, and the structure of past participle is only third form of verb, and there are some third forms of verb that I have listed here, like gone, taken, eaten, love. Now if I use these verbs in this sentence as a main verb of the sentence, then they would be called past participle. Okay, now consider a few examples using is, like picture is taken to the auction. Now in this sentence we can see it is quite familiar with the above structure I have written, like subject plus auxiliary verb plus third form of verb, and at the end there's an object. In this sentence we can see I have used auxiliary verb is to develop a relationship between the subject and the main verb, and the subject in this sentence is picture and the main verb is taken, which is called as past participle because it is the third form of verb and it is being used as a main verb in this sentence. Okay, well, moving forward to the second example, I would say goat is milked in the morning. Well, in this sentence I have again used is as an auxiliary verb to develop a relationship between the subject and the main verb past participle. And the third example, cake is eaten in breakfast. Similarly the case with it, Like I have used is again to develop a relationship between the subject and the main verb, which is eaten, and it is past participle because it is a third form of verb. Okay, well, moving forward, we would say that we can use is in present progression tense. What do we mean by present progression? It is similarly present continuous tense but in passive voice. Okay, we can also use is in present continuous tense in passive voice form. So we use this tense to describe an action which is in motion or which is in progression. Okay, that means continuous. Well, structure of present continuous or present progression tense in passive voice is subject plus auxiliary verb plus being plus third form of verb, and at the end there is an object. Okay, so examples in which I have used is as an auxiliary verb are listed here. You can observe them, like I can't listen to you properly as our street is being constructed. Now in this particular sentence, the second part of the sentence, our street is being constructed. Now in this sentence, street is our, you can say, subject, and is our auxiliary verb. Being I have used to show progression, and constructed is the main verb in this sentence, as it is also a third form of verb. Constructed is a third form of verb, so it is again a past participle. So I would say I have used is in this sentence to relate subject to the main verb, which is. Okay, so that is the use of is in present progression tense passive voice. Again, in the second example, we can see, my dear, she is just being polite. Now again I have used the is as an auxiliary verb to develop a relationship between the subject and, you can say, the main verb, and in present progression tense, and so that is a use of is. And in the third example, we can see cake is being baked. Again, I have used is to develop a relationship between subject and the main verb, and moreover it is used in present progression tense but in passive voice. So we can see that we can use is in present continuous in active and passive voice both, but we can use is in present indefinite tense only in passive form. We cannot use is in present indefinite in active voice forms. Okay, but we do use is in affirmative sentences. Okay, I hope the concept has become clear to you all. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, then